banana slam jam.
And I'm just watching this mid lane not get pushed, and now I'm watching the enemy team low skill it up here as well, where they're just four-manning your lane when mid lane's just sitting there. You walk back bottom, that's good. It's a good time not to TP, because you do have your ultimate, you want to be able to fight. So this is an example of a good hold of your TP. I just wish mid lane was pushed in this entire time. Your mid lane tower just died for free. That's because of what you did at the top tier 1 in combination with not prioritizing it now. That mid tower, when you are strong enough to push it, should just never die. Like, push the lane. Should never die, okay?
Yeah.
I want you to be like, I exhausted every possible option to push this mid tower, and I lost my tower still. If that's the answer, then it's acceptable that you lost your mid tower. You notice that? If you watch my games, I will never lose a mid tower for free. I will lose it if I try my absolute hardest to defend it and the enemy heroes are just too strong to push it. Okay, like that happens. That will happen sometimes. But the free ones are what we just cannot give up.
Yeah.
Which you have done, I think, 2 or 3 games in a row now, actually. It was definitely the last 2. I don't remember the first game.
Yeah.
So, like, I would personally think this fight would be okay based on location of the map. But it ends up being like a 1-for-1 trade. Nothing really happens. You guys are just kind of losing, though. And I'll just tell you that people don't understand in your bracket, and it's perfectly fine. If you have your mid tower, mid tier 1, alive at like 25 minutes, you're going to win like 90% of your games.
Oh, okay.
Like 90%. If it's alive at 25. Like if it lasts that long, you pretty much just can't lose the game. Okay, like meaning assuming you don't dive tier 4s and throw. You will get to the point you were at in that jug game if you have your mid tower alive at 25 minutes. Like you just win.
Yeah.
So if you end up throwing the game, I can't stop you. But it's like I can't tell you that you'll get to that point in the game. Your mid tower is so fucking important. It makes it so easy to contest Roche. It makes it so easy to eventually do Roche. And so it basically means you control Roche. Whichever team has their tier 1 tower alive at like the longest can control Roche. At the highest level, if you're behind and you win a fight, it's almost always take the tier 1 tower mid before you get Roche. Like very few players, very few situations are we confident enough to go Roche if the enemy tier 1 is still alive. Because even if they're respawning, they can TP right there. Right? They can go right there, and it's really close. So I've been emphasizing this to a lot of people. This mid creep wave needs to be thought of as very important by everybody. It is a very important part of the game. I want you guys, yourself and everyone watching, to treat the mid wave being pushed as an objective on the map. Okay? Mid wave specifically. Why, BSJ? I'm new here, and I don't know what you're fucking talking about. Well, if you understand the dead lane theory, it's that the team that's winning is strong enough to control 2 out of 3 lanes. And usually the reason why you can't control all 3 is based on proximity. If you are showing 1 hero bottom and 1 hero top, the enemy team knows you're drastically split and they can pick you off. So naturally, usually one of those 2 lanes is mid. So if you're the team that's winning, the lane that should be pushed every game is mid. Okay, and if the enemy team is winning and they're not good, they're not going to push mid, just like in this game. They didn't really do anything to push mid. The tower just kind of died. Okay, so what I'm saying is, if you have a higher emphasis on pushing mid than the opponent, it is a massive swing on who wins the game. Okay, so for yourself, sir, I think that's really important. I've been harping on it every single coaching session that I've been doing mid laners, like every single one.
It's funny because like,
go ahead.
When I play, I think in my head like, oh, I thought about mid, I pushed it, but clearly like going through it with you, it's clear like I don't.
Missing 2 or 3 of them adds up a lot. Like it actually, you just can't miss any of them. And it's like if there was one where you TP top, you took a fight, you had absolutely no mana left, and your team just let the mid tower die, I'm okay with that. It sucks, but there's nothing you could have done about it, okay?
Yeah.
But if you watch all these situations I've presented to you, you could have just gone mid at those points, right? As Jug, as Mars, you could have just gotten there. And it's like TPing or walking, that's up to you to decide in the future. Like, I actually don't care how precise you are about that right now. That's like a basic application, meaning getting there in the first place is the first step. Once you start prioritizing mid tower and prioritizing the mid wave, you're going to run into a whole nother slew of problems because, You're having to use mana that you didn't previously have to use. You're maybe TPing away and having to walk to a fight when in the past you'd never had to do that because you were just at the fight beforehand. It's just like you're going to run into other decisions you've never run into before. And so that's something we can worry about. You said you're planning on coming back. So it's like that's something we can worry about once I see that you're never missing a mid creep wave. But for people learning, for yourself, it's just like it doesn't matter. What I tell you could potentially happen. I hate those questions. I'm not mad at you. You didn't ask the question here. But I get these questions in chat where I tell them you need to push the mid wave every time. And then somebody says, what happens if this happens? And it's like, get back to me after you've pushed the mid wave every single time you can, 100 games in a row. Right?
Yeah, there's no point. There's no point talking about like obscure like scenarios if you don't do the basic job in the first
place. Right? So that's when I feel confident to answer your question about a specific thing when I can see you doing it every game. Right?
Yeah.
So because these things are things that just need to be done every single game.